University Cougars are at home for a Peach Belt Conference doubleheader against Georgia Southwestern. Hi again, everyone. Scott Miller, high above beautiful Ragsdale Field here on the campus of Columbus State, where the Cougars come in trying to bounce back from a tough loss last night. Georgia Southwestern, with two conference wins coming into the game last night, beat CSU 10-8. Stephen Williams from the CSU Sports Information Department here, and there's no way around it, Stephen. That was a bad loss for the Cougars last night.
It's a little worrisome because here was a team that was rolling right along, a bad Georgia Southwestern team that came to town, and the CSU boys with the backs to the wall right now, trying to play for postseason life and everything else on the line, and to have them lay an egg like that, it does make you worry just a little bit.
So the old sports adage, you can't let one loss cost you another. That's what they have to look at here today with the doubleheader. We'll come back and we'll talk with the birthday boy, Coach Greg Appleton, celebrating his birthday today. We'll come back and talk with Greg on the pregame show. Mackie Mason is our studio producer today. This is the flagship station of the CSU Sports Network, News Radio 540. It is what it is. You can't run from your birthday. 46-inch televisions and a secure high-speed wireless and wired internet connection. You can relax in their spa or saltwater pool. Near Bradley Park, the Wingate Hotel is convenient for shopping, dining, and entertainment. And they offer complimentary shuttle transportation to most local destinations. The Wingate Hotel, 1711 Rollins Way in Bradley Park. Call 706-225-1000. Scott Miller back at Ragsdale Field, with the Cougars getting set to take on Georgia Southwestern, the doubleheader today. Coach Greg Appleton joins us on the pregame show. All you can say about last night is that Georgia Southwestern just came out here and handed it to us.
Yeah, they swung the bats well. We really didn't have an answer for them. They hit the ball all night long, and we just couldn't stop them. We scored 8 runs, and usually that's good enough to win a ball game. But they did a great job and put the runs up and kept scoring, and we just didn't stop them. So we just got beat.
We talked about it last night before the game on the pregame show. That's the danger of playing teams like this late in the season. Their one goal is to spoil other people's season. They were very loose. You could tell in the first inning they were very aggressive. They had a guy thrown out by 20 feet at the plate, but they were saying, heck, we're 2-19 in the league. Let's just let it all fly.
It's tough. You're playing somebody with absolutely nothing to lose. And but the thing you got to do is, when you get ahead of them, you gotta stomp them down. And so teams like that, they'll kind of quit if you get ahead of them and show them that you're not going to let them out. And we didn't do that. We had the 3-run lead. We let them right back in. Actually let them get ahead of us, and then we were struggled from then on. And so we need to do a better job. We got to pitch and play defense. I mean, that's the key to baseball.
Fox Sports trying to hone in on our interview here.
That's right.
Well, your pitcher, Mike McGinnity, he had a night where it wasn't that he fell behind everybody. He got ahead of just about everybody, but he couldn't put them away, could he?
Yeah, he just, he didn't have a breaking ball working, and his changeup had kind of left him too. So it was just fastballs, and I thought the umpire had a little bit of a tight strike zone, but it was both ways, and we didn't get the benefit of any calls or anything. And he just, he had trouble making a pitch, and he gave up hits. I mean, gosh, he gave up 9 hits in 3+ innings. And that's a lot. So we just we got to do a better job on their hitters than we did last night, and hold them down and give our guys a chance to score more runs than them.
The old adage in any sport, you can't let one loss cost you another one, so we got to get that one out of the way.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think our guys will bounce back, and It's a totally different day. The wind was blowing out last night. It was a good hitting night. The wind's blowing in 10, 15 miles an hour today. It's a whole different day, a little bit cooler out there. It still feels good. More of a pitching day. We'll see how that works. And, we have a lot of confidence in Jake Ezel, our starter in game one. And he's just got to go out there and be a senior leader and go out there and pitch a good game for us.
When he is on, what is he doing well?
Well, Jake's got good velocity. I mean, he runs it up there 90 plus, and once he establishes that fastball, then his breaking stuff and his changeup it becomes good pitches for him because they just have to get the bat started to get to the fastball. So he's got to establish his fastball in the strike zone, moving it in and out, and forcing them to try and go after that. And then after that, he can make adjustments.
A week ago today, he threw 140 pitches, and that's why you moved him back one day to give him an extra day's rest.
Yeah, I did, man. Turns out it probably wasn't a great of idea, but Jake's a big, strong guy, and I knew McGinnity was going to have to pitch in the series, and I just thought an extra day's rest would help him. But he did throw some pitches, but he's big, strong, and he recovers well, so I think he'll be fine today.
All right, Brian Headley in the second game today. Talk about him, what he has to do to be successful.
Well, he's the same way. He has to establish his fastball and throw strikes, and then be able to to work his breaking stuff and his off-speed stuff in there. They're kind of the same pitchers, although they don't pitch the same, but it's the same philosophy with those two guys, and both of them pitch off of their fastball. So they got a predominantly right-handed lineup, so we should fare well with these two guys, and both of them have velocity, and I think that's what we were kind of missing last night against these guys. So we'll see how it goes.
Oh, happy birthday, by the way. All you want is a couple of wins for your birthday, right?
That would be a nice present. So, but when you get to this age, you don't really the birthdays are more of something that just comes along. But
I feel you. Sorry to bring that up, by the way.
I appreciate it. Facebook just lets it out too much now. So, but yeah, hopefully have a good day, and it'll be a good birthday if we get a couple wins today.
All right, you're still younger than me, so you got that. Good luck.
Everybody is. Thanks, Scott.
Abner Doubleday is the only guy older than me. All right, we'll be back with the starting lineup and the play-by-play story. This is the flagship station of the CSU Sports Network, News Radio 540.
You're busy with places to go and people to see at CD and
Well, we hope you were able to hear some of the national anthem over the guy cutting the grass out here today, which is always a broadcast staple, isn't it?
Your best friend is back. He just wanted to let you know he was here bright and early.
This guy is the hardest working guy in the lawn care business. All right, the Cougars have taken the field here this afternoon, and we'll set them defensively for you. Matt Nettles is out in left. Brendan Collins is in center. Jackson Oliver in right field. Blake Edwards is back at third again today. Ryan Eiley's the shortstop. Carson Bowers at second. Mike McClellan gets the nod at first, and behind the plate is Blaine Miller, and on the mound, Jake Ezel. And Jake, hard-throwing right-hander.
4-1 on the season, a 3.86 ERA, is slotted back into the weekend rotation. 39 2/3 innings pitched for him right now. That's number 4 on the team, but closing in on the top 3. 17 earned runs allowed and 38 hits, 27 strikeouts, and opponents hitting just .252 against him.
He's got that pitch that he is able, the ability, Stephen, that he is able to make pitches to get out of jams. He's got that strikeout pitch that is, when he's on, that's what he's got working for him.
Yeah, he has what a lot of the guys on the Cougar staff are missing, and that's that big put-away breaking ball. He has that big sweeping slider, and he throws so hard it looks like a fastball coming out of his hand, and then it just falls right off the table.
Mike McClellan getting the start at first in game 1 of the doubleheader.
Yeah, it's interesting, but it's a lineup decision in the batting order more than a defensive play. Greg Appleton choosing to go with both of his catchers, Dustin Averett and Blaine Miller. So in order to do that, he has to take Chris Daniel out of the lineup so Mike McClellan can play first, and you have the designated hitter still open.
Cougars in their white tops and white pants today, and the blue caps, and the Hurricanes will send Evan Alderman to the plate. Center fielder, he was 4 for 5 with 2 RBIs last night. They pounded out 17 hits. Came into the series hitting .273. Hits from the left side of the plate. The first pitch is in there for a called strike, and we are underway at 1:03 this afternoon from Ragsdale Field. Beautiful day. A little cool with that wind blowing straight in, by the way. The pitch is inside, 1-1. Last night, the flags were starched straight out to right. Today, the opposite, blowing in. So a little different feel to the game today. There's a chopper to short. Eiley Fields throws, and he got him.
I think it's important today that the Cougars get off to a fast start. You know, put last night behind you. The old adage is momentum is only as good as your next day's starting pitcher. Well, we'll see if the Cougars have momentum with Jake Ezel.
Brett Burgess, the right fielder, he was 2 for 5 with an RBI. 302 hitter coming into this series. He hits from the right side of the plate. And the fastball catches the inside corner for a called strike. Last night, all you had to do was get the ball up in the air to center and right, and you could get it out of here. And it happened 3 times, 2 for the Hurricanes. Dustin Averett hit 1 for the Cougars. The pitch is high. Well, today's a different story with that wind howling straight in right now.
Of course, as we've come to see, that could change in about 10 minutes.
Swung on and a miss. Yeah, it's apt to start swirling before the long day is over. There's a called strike 3 on the outside corner.
And Blaine Miller was ready to chuck that one around the infield before the home plate umpire had even cocked back to call him out.
So Jake registers his first strikeout of the day. Here's Will Redding, the second baseman, 2 for 5, 2 RBIs last night. 262 hitter coming in here. And the pitch is in there for a called strike. They had a team batting average of 253 going into last night's game, and all they did was pound out 17 hits.
That's just what everybody expected, right?
Pitch is low and away, and the count is even at 1-1.
I remember talking to you before the game yesterday, and I think that's what you said was going to happen. They
Yeah,
were going to come in here. They were a stellar offensive team, sneaky good.
Just call me Nostradamus. The pitch misses low and away, 2-1. In my conversation with Greg before the game last night, though, The 2-1 is in there for a called strike, 2-2. We were both talking about how baseball it just has a different feel than other sports when you're playing a team that's not favored. The pitch is high, and it's 3-2. There always seems to be in baseball a little bit more of a chance for that underdog team to come in and steal one.
There's really no bad matchup.
3-2 is lined into center. Brendan Collins over in the gap and left, and that's what the Cougars needed to get the afternoon started, as Brendan hauls it in for a 1-2-3 inning. We go to the bottom of the first. Georgia Southwestern failed to score. The Cougars are just now coming into bat. This is the flagship station of the CSU Sports Network, News Radio 540.
If you have family or friends.
Bottom of the first at Ragsdale, and Jake Ezel got him 1-2-3 in the top of the inning, and Jordan McElwain, left-hander, gets his warm-up tosses in. He is a freshman, 5'11", 140-pounder out of Warner Robins, Georgia.
Just his fifth start of the season. He's made 9 relief appearances. He's 0-3 on the year with an ERA of 6.03, 34 innings pitched for him, 23 earned runs given up.
Well, they threw a pitcher at us last night, a starter, Earl Dupree, who was 0-6, and he didn't have a great game, but he did some damage control, and he stayed around long enough to get the win.
He didn't have a win coming into the game, so maybe they're just going to push the right buttons and see if they can get another one.
Here's Brendan Collins, the Cougars center fielder. Brendan was 1 for 5 with a run scored last night. He bunts and he pushes it foul down the third base line. Brendan has had an outstanding season, but he struggled a little bit last night, as the 1 for 5 would indicate. He sets the whole tone for this club.
I was thinking the same thing. As he goes, the team seems to go.
The 0-1 misses outside, and it's 1-1.
And all you need to do is look at the stats. Look at the number of runs that he scored on the year. It's just astounding. He comes into this one with 51 already.
And he bunts again. Third baseman Fields bobbles, and he's going to have to stick it in his pocket. He would have had a shot at him had he fielded it cleanly, because he was in and the ball was bunted a little hard, but that one bobble cost him.
And it'll be an infield single for Brendan, and now it wouldn't shock you in the slightest to see him take off here early and really try to get the wheels rolling this afternoon.
He had a stolen base last night, so he's 23 for 23. He was also picked off in the first inning after he led off by getting on. The pitch is in there for a called strike to Jackson Oliver. Jackson 1 for 5, 2 runs scored and an RBI last night, hitting .344 on the season now. Dupree, the right-hander, last night, he did have a good move. He picked Brendan off, and he almost picked one other guy off. Can't recall exactly who it was at the time, but it might have been Carson Bowers. Got very close. Bang, bang play over there. The pitch misses outside, and it's 1-1. Patrick Collins flashing the signs down in the third base box. Jackson has him. Brendan gets his lead over at first. Got him picked off again. Throw to first. Throw down to second. In a rundown, he's going to run him back and tag him. So 2 games in a row that Brendan Collins has been picked off in the first inning.
Yeah, and that's just a situation where he's going on first movement. And you have McElwain who lifted that leg up and then went over. That's the advantage of being a lefty. When you see him go on first movement, you can just step right over there and make the move to pick him off.
And 1-1 count still to Jackson. The 1-1 pitch. He shows bunt. Drops a beauty down the first baseline. Catcher fields, throws, and he got him. That's a fine play by Brandon Weaver. He scooped and made the throw on one motion and just nipped him.
Yeah, nearly absolutely perfect. All it needed maybe was a couple extra feet on that. That's a base hit. It's a good idea, but a really good play, as you mentioned.
Here's Mike McClellan, Cougar first baseman today. Was the DH last night, 2 for 4 with an RBI. The pitch misses outside, 1-0. Big Mike, 354 on the season. Leads the club with 11 home runs and 49 RBIs. 1-0 misses outside. 2-0. 2-0 to McClellan is ripped, but right at the shortstop, and it tailed back to Zach Barron. Hit it on the nose, but right at Barron at short. So nothing doing. The leadoff single, a pickoff, and 3 up, 3 down, it turns out, as we played 1-0 ball game from Ragsdale. This is the flagship station of the CSU Sports Network, News Radio 540. Davey King set to lead it off for the Hurricanes here in inning number 2, game 1 today. 0-0 ball game. King, the first baseman, 0 for 5 last night. Jake Ezel kicks and fires. It's in there for a called strike 1.
You like Ezel's approach so far, going right after the hitters, throwing a lot of strikes early.
Jake gets a sign from Blaine Miller, and the pitch low and away. And the count is even 1-1. King, 392 average coming into this series. He only appeared in 14 games, though. There's a strike. A ball and 2 strikes. You can hear that wind in our microphones whipping straight in. Fastball is high.
It's keeping your friend over there nice and cool, though.
Yeah, it is. That guy also has to be the slowest grass cutter in world history.
He just saves this patch over here for when he sees the mic hanging.
3 balls, 2 strikes. I heard that noise when we went to break before the national anthem, and I got up to see. I really didn't have to, but I just got up to confirm it, and there it was. Well, there's a ball 4 inside. So after getting ahead in the count, King is issued a walk. And that'll bring up Paul Sorrow. He was the big hero for the Hurricanes last night. He was their leading home run hitter with 4 coming in. He hit 2 last night, including 1 to dead away center field. Pitch is in there for a called strike. He hit it just to the right of the 403 sign.
And it doesn't matter if the wind's helping you or not. That is a long shot.
That's a poke. Runner leads, swing and a miss.
Was trying to do it again there. That was aimed for the parking lot.
His second home run was just as impressive. It was a line drive over the hill behind the left field fence. 0-2 pitch. Called strike 3 on the inside corner. A delayed call by the plate umpire. Ball popped away from Blaine Miller. No damage done.
And you know what? You give a lot of credit to a home plate umpire there, because very rarely when you don't catch the ball cleanly as a catcher do you get a strike call, much less a strike 3 call. But the pitch looked very good and right over the heart of the plate.
And second strikeout for Ezel, and pitches downstairs, ball 1 to the shortstop, Zach Barron. Barron 0 for 5 last night with a run scored. He played an outstanding defensive game until the 9th inning, when a routine ground ball he threw away to open the 9th. He bunts it, it's up in the air, and Ezel fields it, and he's got the runner off easily, and that'll be a double play. Nicely done. Thank you very much. So Barrel pops into a double play. Nothing doing for the Hurricanes here in the second. We go to the bottom of the second inning. Georgia Southwestern nothing, Columbus State nothing. This is the flagship station of the CSU Sports Network, News Radio 540. Dustin Averett set to lead off the bottom of the second for the Cougars here. Nothing ball game. He is the DH in this game. The pitch is in there for a called strike. He was the catcher last night, and he homered, and so rewarded with a start as the DH today.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to take him out after he has the kind of night he did yesterday.
The 0-1 is fly ball into right field. Not today, as the right fielder Burgess is under it. That ball would have been out of here last night, and not so today. Out number 1.
And Paul's closing in on the scoreboard yesterday.
Yep. Dustin, in addition to the home run last night, drove in another run. He was 2 for 4. Here's Blaine Miller. Blaine did not play in last night's game, and he hits a rocket right at the third baseman, Paul Sorrells. So just like that, 2 down quickly.
The 3 Cougars that have swung the bat so far after the 2 bunts, they've all hit the ball right on the nose. It's just a matter of finding the hole now.
And here is Carson Bowers. Carson was 0 for 3. He did have an RBI last night. 364 hitter on the season. 29 RBIs. Yeah, you feel like the way things have gone in the first couple of innings that the Cougars will be able to score some runs today. There's a strike in there.
Yeah, they've hit a lot of balls hard already.
And Carson is going to change bats. The 0-1. Downstairs.
Had a new first last night working the softball games.
Mm-hmm.
Aluminum bat, broke in half.
Is that right?
Just absolutely shattered in the middle.
1-1 is in there for a called strike. I have not seen that in person. I have seen that on television one time before, and that also was a softball game.
Yeah, girl hit it off the end of the bat, and I guess it jackknifed the handle a little bit and just snapped right above the grip.
1-2 misses outside.
Girl took a big swing. The ball rolled softly to shortstop. The barrel followed right with it.
Was it our player or theirs?
It was from Armstrong.
All right. Super balls didn't fall out of the bat, did it? Pitches bounced foul over into the dugout.
No, but we all looked around going, someone take a look at that. Bats don't break very often.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Gonna have to get some paperweights in here. And swing and a miss. He struck him out. So an easy 1-2-3 inning for McElwain and the Hurricanes. We've played 2 at Ragsdale. 0-0 ball game. This is the flagship station of the CSU Sports Network, News Radio 540. Scott Miller, Stephen Williams back at the ballpark. Mackie Mason, our studio producer today. Top of the 3rd inning in a 0-0 game. Josh Tatnall, the left fielder, to face Jake Ezel. Tatnall 3 for 5 with 3 runs scored in last night's game. The big right-hander kicks and fires in there for a called strike. So far, Jake is pitching like he has a hot date tonight. We're all for that. Fly ball, right field. That wind is going to knock it down. Jackson Oliver shielding his eyes, sunglasses gleaming under it, and makes the catch.
I think they've all got some kind of agreement going on. There must be trying to get to watch the Final Four tonight. Because everybody's swinging early in the count. We're rolling.
There is that too, isn't it? First game's at 6:09, the game that everybody is really looking forward to, I think, the Kentucky-Wisconsin game at 8:49 scheduled tip. There's a strike to Jared Jones, the DH, 1 for 4 with a run scored last night. And next pitch is fouled away over their bullpen.
If we don't make start time of the Kentucky game, I won't be sitting next to you when we get to that point.
Thanks a lot. I appreciate that. You're going to have Will over here anyway, right? That's the genius behind all of that. The pitch is downstairs, 1-2.
Yeah, don't give away my plans.
A ball and 2 strikes.
I have some serious work to do over there.
Yeah, of course. You got to get those Kentucky voodoo dolls all finished up. Pitch misses inside, 2-2.
I don't know what you're talking about.
No, I wouldn't have any idea, Louisville boy. City of Louisville. I completely understand. In on his hands, rolled out in front of the mound. Jake Fields throws a strike, and he got him.
I think that might have been his hardest pitch of the day from there to first.
I think Mike is shaking his hand over there.
Coach, you didn't tell me I had to play first on the day. Jake was throwing BBs around the infield.
Here's Brandon Weaver, the catcher for the Hurricanes. 2 for 4, 2 RBIs last night. He shows bunt, and he takes a strike. He came in hitting, I think, 1-something. What was he hitting? Yeah, just about 209, and he had 2 hits last night. First time up, he hit a rocket back through the middle. I said, man, that didn't look like a 209 hitter.
That happened, what, last week against Flagler, too?
Yeah. Fouled away.
In order to make that 6 o'clock game, though, we're going to need an Aiken-esque doubleheader.
That was the doubleheader to end all doubleheaders, wasn't it?
Ruined it forever.
It did. Set the bar entirely too high. The 0-2 tried to check his swing and was able to do so.
Well, because now you know it's possible.
Yep.
And that's the worst thing. For the longest time, we would have never even agreed that that was even possible.
No. I would have bet against it. The 1-2 fastball just missed outside. He had a little giddy up on that thing.
He looks really comfortable right now, too.
2 balls, 2 strikes. The 2-2 pitch is downstairs. 3-2. Had an extra day's rest, even though he threw 140 pitches. And that, for those of you who don't follow college baseball, I know you might go, my goodness, that's a lot. 3-2 is a ground ball to the second baseman, Carson Bowers. He fields, he throws to first, and he got him. We'll continue that thought when we come back. A 1-2-3 inning for Jake Ezel and the Cougars. We go to the bottom of the third. It's a 0-0 ball game. This is the flagship station of the CSU Sports Network, News Radio 540. Bottom of the third, 0-0 ball game here. Game 1 of our doubleheader at Ragsdale today. Georgia Southwestern and CSU. Matt Nettles will lead it off. Matt was 1 for 4 with a couple of runs scored last night. 369 hitter on the season. So we were talking about the number of pitches that Jake threw last Saturday. He did get an extra day's rest than what he would normally get, but 140. Pitch to Matt is in there for a called strike. Now, keep in mind, if you're thinking about comparing it to Major League Baseball, you go, my goodness, nobody would let him throw 140. Well, these guys pitch once a week. I mean, they pitch on the weekend, and they've got the whole week off. Tried to check his swing, but he went around 0-2. So they're not pitching every 5 days. It's just really once every weekend.
Yeah, they have an extra 2 or sometimes even 3 days off from what those Major League guys are going to get.
And the pitch is fouled away. And the pitch count is, I've always thought the pitch count by itself is not a good indicator. How many pitches under duress or stress do you throw in a game? I think that's something to look at. Looped into left field. Left fielder over. Makes a nice running catch. Josh Tatnall running toward the line to rob Matt of extra bases.
Yeah, that ball was stung well, and that was one where the wind kind of helped it because it was pushing it away from the left fielder, but Tatnall did a nice job getting over there and making that grab.
Here's Blake Edwards, the third baseman. And Blake was 2 for 5 with an RBI last night. 336 hitter on the season. The pitch is high.
Yeah, you talk about stress pitches. You look at what Jake's done through 3 innings, and you'd say he hadn't really thrown any.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's thrown pitches, but none of them have been under duress.
There's a ball toward the hole. It's short and into left field for a base hit. So Blake gets a one-out hit here in the third. And that will bring up the shortstop, Ryan Eiley. Ryan last night was 1 for 2 with a run scored.
The shortstop, number 13, Ryan Eiley.
Not a superstitious guy. Wears number 13. Or either that, he didn't have a choice. There goes the runner. The pitch back to the mound, and one play on the first for the out.
Yeah, the hit and run on there because that wasn't a good pitch that he swung at.
So Edwards goes down to second, and Ryan is the second out of the inning. Back to the top of the order, and Brendan Collins, who singled in the first inning, but then was picked off. The left-hander caught him going to second and threw behind him, and they got him in a rundown and tagged him out. Chance to take the early lead. Fly ball is pulled foul on top of the batting cage down the left field line. I think at this point in the game, just about a third of the way through, it would be very nice for our psyche to be able to jump on top after what happened last night. The 0-1 misses low and inside. 1-1. See where Irvin Santana, now with Minnesota, got caught for steroids, 80 games.
And got dinged up, didn't he?
Yeah. And that drug is obviously the drug of choice now to several guys. There's a chopper off of the glove of the pitcher. Picks up, going to have a tough play, and not in time. The speed of Brendan Collins beat the rap.
Yeah, it was one of those where if McElwain lets that go, he's probably going to get an out with his shortstop. Because he threw his glove up and knocked it down, it's going to end up being a base hit for Brendan Collins, and it keeps the rally going.
Gets Blake Edwards over to third, and now here's Jackson Oliver. Runners on the corners. 2 down.
And it's so instinctive as a pitcher, as anyone, to just throw that glove up, but sometimes you're better off if you don't.
And a breaking ball missed somewhere. Ball 1 to Jackson. He tried to bunt his way on in the first inning, and Brandon Weaver, the catcher, made a great play to throw him out. Need a 2-out happening here to get a run home. Pitch is high, 2-0, nothing ball game in the bottom of the third. Coach Collins flashing the signs down at third. At some point in this at bat, you expect Brendan to be going. Straight steal, hit and run. And there's a line drive in the left field for a base hit. He went the opposite way, and there's the first run of the ball game. The Cougars on top, 1-0.
And how much needed was that, not only for the Cougars, but for Jackson to kind of get that swing going. And that looks much more like the Jackson Oliver we're used to seeing, where he's working the opposite field first and really just went with that pitch.
And Cougars on top. Here's Mike McClellan to see if we can hang a crooked number on the board. If you're going to get one out today, left field would be the place to do it, and Mike can certainly do that. And swung on, fouled it over into our dugout.
And remember, he hit the ball right on the nose his first time up, kind of hit that sinking, knuckling liner right at the shortstop.
That wind continues to blow straight in from right field toward home plate. Pitch to the plate is outside. Count is even at 1-1. Dave Plata here getting some highlights for his sportscast later tonight. There goes the runner from second. The pitch is fouled back to the screen. And Collins was on his way to stealing third. Had a big jump, but Mike fouled it back to the screen, 1-2.
Yeah, no, he had timed it out from McElwain. As soon as he turned his head from looking at him at second, Brendan took off. He must have seen a pattern there from McElwain. As a pitcher, you got to mix up those looks and mix up your timing.
Let's see if McElwain changes anything up this time. He will. McClellan asks for time. Granted, he steps out. He's back in now. Checks the runner at second, and the pitch in the dirt. The catcher can't find it, and everybody's going to move up. Weaver blocked it, but it was right at his feet. He couldn't find it.
You wonder if Brendan Collins helped influence that one, because you watched McElwain that time. He really didn't look back at the catcher before he threw. He was looking at second, and then he just started his motion home and spiked it.
So now a base hit could mean a couple of runs. One already in the inning. 1-0 Cougars in the bottom of the third. The 2-2 pitch is downstairs. So he's run it full to the leading home run hitter and RBI man on the team. 2 down here in the third. McElwain working from the full windup, and the payoff pitch is roped but pulled foul down into our bullpen. So Mike way out in front of that one.
Mike, a 468 hitter with runners in scoring position, so this is his territory.
Payoff pitch, swing and a miss. He went after a bad one that was up around his chin, and he's upset with himself. And the Cougars pick up a run, but strand a couple more in scoring position. We've played 3 here at Ragsdale. Columbus State 1, Georgia Southwestern nothing. This is the flagship station of the CSU Sports Network, News Radio 540.
Columbus State University. GSU Sports Network, News Radio 540, WTAK.
Stephen Williams and Scott Miller back here with you at Ragsdale Field. 1-0, Columbus State in front. They get an RBI knock from Jackson Oliver in the bottom of the third inning. Now Jake Uzel back to the rubber to start the fourth against Evan Alderman as he rolls one softly on the ground to second. Carson Bowers fields, throws, and very quickly, 1 pitch, 1 out. So a good start to the inning for Jake Ezel, who's been rolling right along. He's faced the minimum through the first 10 outs, just 1 walk against him, and Brett Burgess, the one striding to the plate. First one to Burgess on the outside corner for a strike. He was down on strikes looking back in the first inning.
Jake's demeanor, his body language, everything looks great today.
Working quickly, tosses a breaking ball that stays outside. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Number 1 team in the country again this week, Colorado Mesa. And Minnesota State again in the 2-hole.
Pitches in there for a strike. That's Mankato, correct? I believe when they
I think so,
abbreviate it
yeah.
like that, it's Mankato. 1-2 the count. The pitch coming to Burgess. The breaking ball rolled towards third. Blake Edwards fields on a hop, makes a perfect throw, and it's back-to-back ground balls. And there's 2 down here in the fourth.
With 2 outs, now batting the second baseman.
I'll bring Will Redding to the plate.
Tampa is 3 this week, Florida Tech 4, Franklin Pierce 5, Nova Southeastern 6, Alabama Huntsville 7, Colorado State Pueblo is 8.
Pitch misses out of the zone for ball 1.
Seton Hill is 9, St. Cloud State 10. Armstrong is in at 14, Flagler at 18.
Again on the ground to third, Edwards with it. How about a trio of ground balls and a very quick, easy inning for Mr. Jake Ezel, 1-0 Cougars. Jake Ezel with 4 shutout in the books here on the flagship station of the CSU Sports Network, News Radio 540. Jake Ezel continuing to roll right along for the Cougars on the mound, now looking for a little more run support. They've given him just 1 run to work with, but the 4, 5, and 6 in the Cougar order coming up. Dustin Averett to lead things off here in the 4th.
Some other teams in the top 25 that would be of interest to Cougar fans.
First one to Averett high for a ball.
Catawba is 12, Erskine is 16, and Mount Olive is 20.
That would be 3 teams that look ticketed for the postseason regardless of outcome of conference tournaments. Pitch outside, 2 balls and no strikes.
And that's what makes getting an at-large bid so very difficult for CSU. Not impossible yet, but very difficult.
If you're looking at it from Columbus State's perspective, as the 2-0 pitch on the way is over the outside corner for a strike, you have to root for Catawba to try to win that SAC Conference Tournament Championship, and then one of those 2 Conference Carolina schools, be it Mount Olive or Erskine, to win their tournament. As Averett sprays it foul out of play on the first base side. That way, they're not taking up at-large spots otherwise, because you're looking at those schools, they've set up themselves up to get an at-large bid if they don't win their tournament.
There's only 3 at-large spots available because the NCAA still has baseball at 6.
And there's, 4 Peach Belt teams in the poll?
Mm-hmm.
Again, foul on the first base side. So it'll stay 2 balls and 2 strikes. So you're really, it's as big of an uphill climb as you can to try to get to that at-large area. You almost need to run the table from here on out.
Yeah.
And hope some of those teams take quite a few losses. Averett rolls this one on the ground towards second. It's fielded by Redding. The throw a little high, but King able to hold the bag, and Dustin Averett is out number 1. Ground ball's the name of the game at the moment for both pitchers as Blaine Miller gets ready to hit for the second time.
With 1 out, now up to the catcher.
There's just 4 hits in the contest so far, nearly 4 full innings in. And all 4 of those belong to Columbus State. First one to Blaine is fouled straight back for a strike.
Division II baseball people have argued forever need to increase regional fields to 8, but nobody really sees that happening.
Lined into right, sinking liner is going to drop in front of Burgess out there in right field, and Blaine Miller has hit number 5 on the afternoon for the Cougars.
Burgess kind of got caught in between. He didn't know exactly what he wanted to do with that. In the last moment, he decided just to play it safe and make sure he didn't turn it into extra bases.
First and 1 out now, batting
Carson Bowers coming to the plate with 1 out. It doesn't really make sense as to why they play with 6, because softball is double elimination, and they break it down into 3 weeks.
Right.
You know, they play the 4-team regional. There's 2 4-team regionals happening, both double elimination. Then they have the supers, where it's a best of 3 as Bowers hits the first one out of play on the first base side. And then they go on to the World Series with the 8 teams that win the Super Regionals. That just makes sense. That's the way Division I does
Division I baseball does that.
it. And it doesn't make any sense as to why they don't do that.
Welcome to the NCAA.
The 0-1 from McElwain. Bowers comes up empty on a big cut, 0-2.
I can remember the day, though, when there were, believe it or not, Stephen, 3 teams in the regional.
1 from each conference, or did all 3 conferences exist then?
There were no automatic bids then.
Near the outside corner with the fastball, but off the plate, 1 ball and 2 strikes. So you could win the conference, and that didn't really stand any ground if you weren't good enough.
Mm-hmm. 1 team in that format was gone on the first day. They didn't even have their have to turn their bus off.
Called strike 3, went for the outside corner again. This time he got it on the outside corner, and McElwain has a strikeout for the 2nd out of the inning. So Blaine Miller gets the 1-out single. He's still standing on first, and now Matt Nettles steps in. Lefty on lefty here as Nettles takes the first one, runs too far inside for a ball.
So 1 team could get eliminated on the first day by losing twice, and then that would turn the regional into a best 2 out of 3 between the 2 teams remaining.
A 1-0 drops a breaking ball off the plate outside. 2 balls and no strikes. It just seems much more logical to make it out to 8. I just don't understand what the thought process behind it is, except for maybe it saves you 1 road trip for the teams that go to the supers.
Well,
fastball on the corner, 2 balls and a strike.
Cynical person that I am, it's got to be all about money.
It has to be. You're sending 2 more teams from 8 regions, so 16 extra teams in. Big cut by Nettles, but comes up empty. But if you can afford to do it for the softball teams, why can't you do it for the baseball?
Because there hasn't been enough outcry.
I mean, I would think
that would put some pressure on them.
I would think the entire South and Southeast regions, if nothing else, would go after it with how good the baseball talent is. Runner on the move, line drive in right field, and again Burgess caught in no man's land, and it gets by him and is going to roll the wall. Blaine Miller is going to score easily. Matt Nettles on his way to third. It's going to be a single and a couple base error on the part of Burgess. A run comes in to score for Blaine Miller, and the Cougars put another up. It's 2-0 CSU.
Yeah, the 2nd time in this inning, he had trouble deciding how he wanted to play a ball, and that one cost him that time.
Cougars will take it no matter which way they have to get it. And Matt Nettles gone all the way around to third on the play. And Blake Edwards will try to make it a 3-0 game. Pops the first one up and out of play on the first base side. But you
see, the Division II coaches can make all the noise they want. Who cares? Nobody cares. I mean, I hate to say that, but they don't matter enough. Division II to the NCAA to make that happen, and they pitches high. They can give us all of this great NCAA speak about the student athlete comes first, and we can cite them. Here we go.
Pitch. Nettles is running for the plate, trying to steal home, and he is going to be thrown out. McElwain rushed the delivery to the plate, and the pitch was out of the zone, but they'll tag Nettles out, and Nettles caught stealing home. So there's one you don't see every day. So we'll pick it up after this break. 2-0. Cougars in front after 4 here on the flagship station, the CSU Sports Network, News Radio 540.
A rather odd way to end the bottom of the fourth inning. Matt Nettles caught stealing home as he tried to sneak in there. McElwain working out of the windup, but able to get it there in time, and Nettles tagged out. 2-0 Cougars, though, after the error allows them to come around and score a second run. And now Jake Ezel back to the hill and drops in a perfect breaking ball for a strike to Davey King, the cleanup hitter.
I guess it seemed like a good idea at the time. He was in the windup, but it wasn't close, as you said, and it ruins his perfect stolen base.
Another
record.
breaking ball in the same spot, 0-2. And the Cougars haven't been thrown out very often in steals, have they?
Matt was 2 for 2 before that, just 3 times all year in 42 attempts.
0-2 pitch to King, chopped on the ground to second. Ground balls everywhere, and Bowers tosses him out at first, and Jake Ezel, I would say, is rolling.
Well, I've started on my NCAA soapbox, so I might as well
Hey, I'll join you.
continue
Keep
in
going.
this inning. We can go countless cases of how the NCAA student first motto does not pay off in Division II.
First pitch to Paul Sorrow is down in the dirt, bounces for ball one.
All you got to do is we go back just as recently as the basketball regionals, and we can cite several situations where it just should not be allowed to happen.
Sorrow, like the rest of his teammates, hitless to this point, takes a fastball in the outside corner, 1 ball and 1 strike. I mean, if you want to get back on the baseball bandwagon of things, look at the South and Southeast region year in, year out, but especially this year. You want to talk about what's going on now. You look down that poll. We'll just start with the Southeast region. You have Catawba, Armstrong, Erskine, Flagler, Mount Olive, and North Georgia. That's 6 right there in the top 22 in the country that would fill it up. Another ground ball, this one to short. Ryan Eiley near the second base bag has it for out number 2. So there's 6, and that leaves out teams that are closing in on the top 25 from this region.
Well, you go back to basketball, we had 2 teams that had lost just 1 time all season in the same regional because Division II will not cross regions.
Zach Barron, the batter now, takes the first pitch in there for a strike. Then you want to double over and look at the South region. It's even more insane. You look at Tampa, Florida Tech, Nova Southeastern, Alabama, Huntsville, and we haven't even gotten out of the top 7. That's 4 of the top 7 from the same region, as this one's up the middle, and it's going to get all the way through into center field for the first Georgia Southwestern hit of the day, and Jake Ezel frustrated with himself that he didn't catch it as it was coming on through.
So 4 2/3 hitless for Jake.
And he had faced the minimum to that point. He walked 1, but that was erased on a double play. So Barron comes away with the first hit. Josh Tatnell now, the batter with 2 down. First pitch to him bounces in the dirt, and what a job by Blaine Miller there on a breaking ball over in the left-hand batter's box to keep it in the vicinity of home plate.
A Division II baseball coach told me one time that the Division II baseball coaches simply don't have a strong enough organization to create enough noise to get them to expand the tournament.
Swing and a miss on a breaking ball, and they'll check on the runner over there. Mike McClellan did a fantastic job as well to just use that big body of his to keep that one from going into right field.
Just dove and played it off his chest. And it's a shame that you have to have a strong organization to get the NCAA to do something that makes sense to everyone but them, apparently.
Breaking ball popped out of play, first base side. A ball and 2 strikes to Tatnell, who's 0 for 1. But as you said it right, though. Money talks, and until it makes financial sense for them, they're not really going to pay attention to it. 1-2 pitch popped out of play over our right shoulder, so we'll try it once more. But, I mean, because you look at the NCAA basketball tournament right now, they can do anything they want because they're making so much money for the NCAA tournament that they'll change whatever needs to be changed, whether it makes sense or not.
Yep.
1-2 pitch coming again. This one bounces in the dirt, and again, Blaine Miller smothers it and keeping the runner Barron planted over there at first base. 2-0 the score. Columbus State in front of Georgia Southwestern, top of the 5th inning. First of our doubleheader here from Ragsdale Field on what is a very nice Saturday afternoon. 2-2, rolled foul. Past third base. We'll do it once more.
And all the Division II baseball people are saying, just let us be like everyone else. I mean, that's it. They're not asking for any special treatment. Just let it be equal.
The 2-2, again, driven out of play. So a long at bat here for Josh Tatnall at the plate. Yeah, that's the thing. You're not asking for special treatment. We just want to be just like the other one is. And even you're just asking to be like the softball at our level is. 2-2 outside. So Tatnall has worked the count back full. 3 balls and 2 strikes.
What kind of outcry would there be if that was reversed, if Division II baseball had that and softball didn't? Am I off base there?
No, absolutely not, because whether you like it or not, they're always looking to make sure everything's even between the genders as they check on the runner at first.
And I think good for softball. That's the way it should be. But you just do it for baseball also.
Yeah, they have the same setup for Division II softball as Division I. Runner on the move on the 3-2 pitch. It's lined into left center field. Brendan Collins got a good break, and it has a beat on it, and the gap in left, and he'll put it away for the final out of the inning. So Jake Ezel gives up his first hit of the day, but he doesn't give up a run. 5 zeros on the board. Cougars lead it halfway home, 2-0. Good guys here on the flagship station of the CSU Sports Network, News Radio 540. Stephen Williams and Scott Miller here with you at Ragsdale Field at Columbus State University. 2-0 Cougars in front of Georgia Southwestern, trying to even this series at 1 game apiece. Cougars coming to bat in the bottom of the 5th inning with a 2-run lead, and Blake Edwards will start things off. Edwards, Eiley, and then back to the top. Facing the left-hander McElwain. First one off speed, but over the heart of the plate, in there for a strike. Cougars 2 runs on 6 hits so far. Georgia Southwestern with just 1 hit on the day as the pitch misses outside for a ball. Blake, a single, his only trip to the plate so far. He rolled one into left field. He takes the pitch high. Blake singled with 1 out in the 3rd and eventually came around to score. This one hit on the backhand side of short, long throw, and the throw is going to be wide, off the mark. Tough play to make. And Blake Edwards able to beat it out, what will be an infield single for the Cougar third baseman, who's now 2 for 2.
Yeah, Barron had a foot on the grass, so he had a long throw and made a good play just to get there.
And it would have been close had he even made a good throw.
Number 13, Brian Eiley.
So Blake Edwards tries to start yet another scoring inning for the Cougars, who have scored a run in each of the last two. And Ryan Eiley digs in. Edwards on at first. A push bunt from Eiley, and a good one. They'll reach out. The first baseman, King, will. And no call has been made by the umpire. The first base umpire finally says nobody touched Ryan Eiley as he went on by. The tag looked like it was going to be applied by King, and then the umpires just looked at each other.
Neither one saw it. And if either one of them had seen it, the first base umpire would have made the call had he been able to see it. They looked at each other. The Southwestern head coach is out, and now the guys are going to talk it over.
As soon as the play happened, the first base umpire looked at home plate, and home plate looked at him. And now I think they're just going to say neither one of us saw it, so we're going to say it was safe. And you can tell by the way that Brian McLean is acting that he's not getting the call he's hoping for.
Yeah, and at this point, that's the only thing they can do is they can't change it. They didn't see it the first time. They're not going to magically come back and say, well, let's change this.
So it's going to go as a bunt single for Ryan Eiley. And the Cougars in business with the top of the order coming to the plate. So you have Blake Edwards at second, Ryan Eiley on at first, and Brendan Collins stepping into the batter's box now. That was rather odd.
Yeah, you knew when the first base umpire did not make a call right away that he did not see it.
So McElwain forced to work out of the stretch, but you know what that is, though. Part of it, it's a problem with the fact that you have just two umpires.
And he was in the middle of the field. He wasn't at first base, and so you can't blame him.
Collins starts to show bunt. They say he went after a pitch in the dirt, so it's a strike. And it's not his fault. He's where he's supposed to be. But
Exactly.
he's running towards first base, and Ryan Eiley went to the outside, foul side of the line, and so you're trying to ask him to see through bodies to see if you made the tag or not. Brendan Collins has singled a couple of times. The ball hasn't gotten past the pitcher's mound barely for him, though, as the pitch is in the dirt. 1 ball and 1 strike. A bunt single his first time up, and he singled off the glove of the pitcher, McElwain, his second time. One ball and 1 strike. Cougars trying to add on to their lead. Tries to bunt that one and popped it up into the netting behind the plate, a high and outside fastball, and he couldn't get on top of it. 2-0 the score, bottom of the 5th inning here at Ragsdale Field. Columbus State, after losing last night 10-8 to this same Georgia Southwestern team, trying to even up the series at 1 before the nightcap of today's doubleheader. A 1-2 pitch, well outside, 2 balls and 2 strikes. And despite losing last night, that's the thing that Greg Appleton always talks about. You can't win the series when there's a single game on the first day. You can really do your damage on day 2. Of course, they would have liked to have won the first game because they wanted a sweep in this series, but...
And when it is formatted like that, what does happen to the losing team, it forces you to win a doubleheader the next day to win the series.
2-2, and a time was called, it looked like. McElwain not happy about it. He threw the pitch. Home plate umpire was calling time. I'm not sure Brendan Collins had really ever stepped in the box.
Yeah, that was a late call, though, and I don't blame McElwain for being upset there.
2-2 is outside, and the count's going to run full. 3 balls and 2 strikes, and you know now as McElwain just takes the hat off, walks out behind the mound, that he's frustrated.
And not only frustrated at the late timeout call, but the pitch happened to be a strike. It was right down the middle, which would have been a strikeout.
Count full now, payoff pitch coming to Collins. It's driven down the left field line. If it's fair, it's trouble, but it is going to be just foul on the warning track in front of the 335 sign in the left field corner.
That looked like it was about a baseball-wide foul. My goodness.
That was 1 run, if not 2, the way Eiley was getting around the base paths. Instead, though, he'll come back, everybody will, to their respective spots, and we'll try it once more. Blake Edwards at second, Ryan Eiley on at first. The 3-2 coming once again to Collins. Runners on the move. It's popped up. They'll have to scramble back. Infield fly the call. The third baseman, Sorrow, settling under it. He makes the grab anyway. So you go from potentially having a strikeout to it being waved off, to potentially a 2-run double, to it being foul, and now an infield fly.
It was an interesting at-bat, adventurous.
And it started with a guy trying to lay down a sacrifice bunt as well. But an unproductive out brings Jackson Oliver to the plate. He owns the only RBI of the game. His RBI single in the third drove home Blake Edwards with 2 away and put the Cougars in front. This one tied him up, got all the way in on his hands, and he rolls it foul over to Cameron Scott, who's standing in the first base coach's box.
Cameron Scott, boy, was he a great player here.
What a senior year he had. Wouldn't he love to hit in the lineup that has some of these guys at the top?
Isn't that the truth?
0-1, high and inside again, buzzed the tower. And Jackson has to duck out of the way of it, although he had a pretty good leadoff hitter in front of him as well, and Ryan Lewis. And he was only an All-American, so. That's
right. Cameron, Peach Belt Player of the Year and All-American.
One of the rare collegiate switch hitters you see, too. And it's not very often you see it in the college game.
Yeah, that was quite a duo.
The 1-1, trying to stay inside on Oliver, but too far inside, 2-1. If only that team had a pitching staff. There were not too many guys that could throw the baseball well. That team scored countless runs that year. We had, what, a 26-12 game, I remember, here one night with...
We had some slugfest, didn't we?
The 2-1 off the play. Oh, no, that was in there for a strike. Looked like that was well outside, and delayed call from the home plate umpire. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
He's given us a few delayed calls today, which, of course, broadcasters love.
It's the tough part about calling softball. They don't like calling strikes until about 4 seconds after. An inside move towards second, but nobody there to cover up a no throw.
And increases the theatrics for them.
And they always go up with the call. They don't go sideways. I never understood that either. It's like they're calling an out, but it's how they call strikes. 2-2 pitch. Reaches out, stays away from him this time, and Jackson comes up empty on it. So first and second, nobody out, has turned into first and second, and 2 away. So Mike McClellan will be the Cougars' last hope here in the inning to keep it going.
That's 4 strikeouts from McElwain now.
That time they went in, and then finally went away and got Jackson out. First pitch to McClellan is high and outside for a ball. Mike, his last time up, had runners at second and third, and went after a 3-2 pitch that was up and out of the zone. A half-hearted swing at it and was down on strikes. It's also lined out. Runners on the move. McClellan swings. It's a high fly ball to left field. Left fielder going back. Tatnall looking up on the track. The wind helped knock it down, and Tatnall makes the grab with his back up against the championship banners that are hanging on the wall out there in left.
I think he was juggling a couple of balls in his offhand, too. My goodness.
And wrong day for that fly ball. We've played 5 here at Ragsdale, 2-0. Cougars still in front of Georgia Southwestern on the flagship station of the CSU Sports Network, News Radio 540. CSU gets a pair of runners on with nobody out in the bottom of the fifth. They can't cash either run in. Leave them both standing there as Mike McClellan's fly ball runs out of steam at the wall. Georgia Southwestern coming back to the plate now here in the top of the sixth inning against Jake Ezel, who tosses a first pitch strike in there to Jared Jones, the designated hitter.
That ball that Mike hit might have been at the Crystal last night.
Line drive, sinking into right field. It'll fall on one hop in front of Jackson Oliver. Second hit of the day for the Hurricanes, and the first for Jones.
With a runner on first, now to bat, the catcher, number 16, Brandon Weaver.
So Brandon Weaver, the Hurricane catcher, steps into the box. 2-0 the score. Columbus State in front of Georgia Southwestern. He hammers this one down the line, but that's going to be well foul and left. Jake Ezel hasn't had to work out of the stretch very often today.
Pembroke leading Aiken 6-1 in the top of the fourth. Georgia College 3-2 over Francis Marion in the top of the fifth.
0-1 the count. Here on Weaver, the runner on, takes his lead. The pitch right over Broadway. 0-2. Some of those scores yesterday in Peach Belt play were quite wild, weren't they? The 0-2 fouled off. We'll try it again.
USC Aiken beat North Carolina Pembroke 24-6. A guy from Aiken had 3 home runs and 8 RBIs.
Ooh. No balls and 2 strikes here to Weaver. 0 for 1 on the day. This one bounces in the dirt, and Blaine Miller has been fantastic behind the plate so far. He gives you the utmost confidence if you're the pitcher.
North Georgia beat Landers 16-12. Francis Marion scored 11 runs in their win. Flagler scored 11 runs in their win. Armstrong swept the doubleheader, scored 10 in one game.
Pitch misses. 2 balls and 2 strikes now. Let's just say the pitching was not great on a day in which most people's best were going.
Yeah.
Swing and a miss by Weaver. Jake Ezel tallies up another strikeout, and it's the first out here of inning number 6.
With 1 out and a runner on first, now back the center fielder for 23.
Third strikeout for Jake. He's been pitching to contact a lot today.
So runner still stuck at first. Evan Alderman now, the leadoff hitter, to the plate. Alderman 0 for 2, starts to show bunt, takes the changeup off the plate outside for ball 1.
Major League season begins tomorrow. Braves will get started Monday afternoon in Miami.
1-0 pitch outside, 2 balls and no strikes. I'm excited, but not optimistic.
Yeah, you know, I'll have to say that I'm intrigued now. I was very pessimistic during the winter. I'm not quite, after having seen some of them play in spring training.
Fouled straight back. 2 balls and a strike to Alderman now.
I'm not quite as pessimistic. I did like the way, the style that they're going to play. Now, whether they can play that style well enough to win enough games is certainly in doubt.
Lays down the bunt, does Alderman towards third. Edwards, the throw on the run, is not going to be in time. A well-placed bunt for Alderman. An infield single, and there's 2 on with only 1 out.
Yeah, it was just a perfect bunt. Blake did everything he could do, but just couldn't get it there in time.
Runners on first and second and 1 out.
So you have 2 on for the Hurricanes.
Brett Burgess.
Only 1 out in the inning. And Brett Burgess, a junior right fielder, to the plate.
Spring training, the Braves did a great job of manufacturing runs. What is that?
I'm not sure what you're talking about. Softly back to the mound. Jake Ezel goes to second for one. He had to leave the mound to go get it, though. So he went and got the middle of the runners. The only play he could get. There's 2 down in the inning.
Good job by Jake. Also, Blaine Miller, the catcher, was yelling 2 all the way. So, and again, he fired another strike down there.
So it'll be up to Will Redding, the number 3 hitter in the Georgia Southwestern order, to try to put the Hurricanes on the board. It's just a 2-0 game, despite the way it feels like Columbus State has been dominating this one. Tying runs are on base right now with 2 outs. First one from Ezel off the plate outside for ball 1. The Braves, acquired another starter yesterday or late the night before?
Cahill.
From Arizona.
He will be the 5th starter. I guess that's the 4 and 5 slots in the rotation give you pause.
This one drops below the knees. 2 balls and no strikes. They chose Stoltz over Wandy Rodriguez, right?
Right. He's got the 4th spot. Of course, Mike Minor's on the shelf for who knows how long. You feel pretty good about the first 3 in the rotation.
And you would think Minor would take Stoltz's spot when he comes back. A 2-0, that one's downstairs as well. 3 balls and no strikes now to Redding, who is 0 for 2 so far today. It's Davey King in the on-deck circle should Redding reach. Somebody said the Braves might be pretty good as long as Melvin stays on the injured list a long time. A 3-0, that's in there for a strike. No, I said that's just cold. That's just cold. But speaking of cold, what did he hit last year? Yes, last 2 years. But EY Jr.'s been doing a nice job out there. The 3-1 fouled off. So nice job by Jake. He's battled back, runs the count full. 2-0 game. Top of the 6th, but Georgia Southwestern with a pair on the corners. 3-2 the count. The runner from first, Brett Burgess, he'll be off on the pitch. Jake Ezel trying to pitch out of his first jam of the day. Payoff pitch coming. Fouled it straight back. Have your hands ready. That was headed our way. Yep, we had it, but that pesky screen got in the way. Just do away with that. We'll start making all kinds of grabs. Who needs it? I've got this counter I can dive under. No problem. 3 balls and 2 strikes, 2 away in the inning. And this time, Jake Ezel will step off the back of the rubber and reset. It does really feel like this has been much more of a blowout than a 2-0 game, but we sit here at 2-0 in a situation where a knock here, and all of a sudden it's a 1-run game. Ezel sets the 3-2, bounces in the dirt. Blaine Miller does a nice job again to keep it in front of him, but it's ball 4, and the bases are now loaded. So now the tying runs are on second and third. The go-ahead run is on base, and the cleanup hitter, Davey King, is at the plate. Second walk for Jake. Jake will go back to the windup with 2 outs. In the first pitch, he pumps inside with a fastball for ball 1 to King, who is 0 for 1 today with a walk. Not the time to be messing around here. The 1-0, that's down low. 2 balls and no strikes. King is 0 for 6 in the series. Good hitters count here, though. Nowhere to put him. 2-0. You better be sitting dead red on a fastball. 2-0 pitch coming. He does sit dead red on it. He hit it right back to Ezel. The underhand flip to first, and Jake will wiggle off the hook. Bases loaded and a 2-0 count, and the cleanup man rolls it right back to the mound. Couldn't ask for anything more. 6 shutout for Jake Ezel. 2-0 Cougars still here on the flagship station of the CSU Sports Network, News Radio 540. 2-0 Columbus State in front of Georgia Southwestern. Bottom of the 6th inning here at Ragsdale Field. Stephen Williams and Scott Miller with you. Dustin Averett to lead things off. Blaine Miller, Carson Bowers to follow. And Jake Ezel, the first time he's had to pitch in any kind of stressful situation, responded well. First one to Dustin Averett, misses out of the zone for ball 1.
And a little action begins in the CSU bullpen now.
Right-hander up and just tossing lightly. Action happening on both sides now as well as the breaking ball inside here. 2 balls and no strikes to Dustin. 0 for 2 right now.
Well, Jake has given us what we needed on the mound today. We've got to get the bats going, a little insurance.
Yesterday, the bullpen had to come in the 4th inning as that one's in for a strike. Robert Hayes came in, got Columbus State out of the 4th after Mike McGinnity had given up 6 runs. Sean Muller and Ryan Pisty each went more than 2 innings to finish it off. High and outside, 3-1.
So Caden Ferguson should be well rested today. He pitched, how much did he pitch Wednesday? Do you recall?
I have to check.
Not much.
It wasn't much. Pitches outside, and it's ball 4 to Dustin Averett. So there's a good start for the Cougars here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Leadoff man on, and now the other catcher coming to the plate here for Columbus State. It'll be Blaine Miller who's actually doing the catching. An inning and a third is your answer. Since he's gone to the bullpen, it doesn't look like he's thrown any more than 2 2/3 innings. As the first one bounces in the dirt, Dustin Averett got a really good break on it and a good read, and he'll dive in ahead of the tag. So nicely done there by someone who's not as fleet of foot.
Well, he has yet to attempt the stolen base coming into today.
A ball and no strikes now to Blaine Miller. High and tight. 2 balls and no strikes now as McElwain not as sharp to start off this bottom of the 6th inning. He's pitched well, though. Scattered 8 hits. Gotten out of some jams. Popped up, right side, down the line, drifting into foul territory. Long run, but it'll fall into the bullpen in front of Burgess.
Keep in mind, McElwain coming into today an ERA of 6.03.
And winless. By the way, just got word. It sounds like one of the former Cougars, Cameron Griffin, is going to be back in Georgia this year, over in Savannah.
Oh, okay. Good for him.
Over in the Mets organization. So I believe that's A-ball, right?
Yes.
High A-ball.
They may be losing that team.
Oh, really?
Saw that a couple of weeks ago, the story.
In the air towards right center field. Burgess moving into the gap. He'll call off Alderman, the center fielder. Averett will tag up on the play, and he'll scoot on over to third without a throw. So it's a productive out. Moves the runner up 90 feet. And with 1 away, the Cougars have another insurance run standing at third base.
Wheels Averett is showing out here in the inning.
I forgot old Wheels, the nickname. Carson Bowers will be the batter. I believe Griffin was up in the New York Penn League last year as Georgia Southwestern's on their way out to the mound for a mound visit here with Mr. McElwain. I believe he had the top ERA out of their bullpen last year, and he was hoping to bump up a league. So went from short season A-ball to the full season now, so good for him.
Savannah Sandnats.
I remember that's a guy that really didn't pitch here for 3 years. Pitched his senior year. He was a third baseman prior to that?
Right.
Senior year, just decided to throw him on the mound and had quite the rocket for an arm.
They play in old Grayson Stadium down there. We played a regional that Armstrong hosted at Grayson Stadium one year.
They're going to leave McElwain in the game. It was just a check, but the bullpen is now up and moving now with a right-hander fully getting loose for Georgia Southwestern. Carson Bowers, the batter, as the Hurricanes bring the infield in. McElwain bounces the first fastball. It's blocked up by Weaver, though. 1 ball, no strikes. 1 away in the inning. Dustin Averett on third in a 2-0 game. Carson 0 for 2 so far. Hits this one to short. The infield in is going to keep the runner at third. Barron will look the runner back and toss Bowers out at first, so the infield in works, and there's 2 away.
That's just tough luck. I mean, all you tell the batter to do in that situation is put it in play somewhere, and if you hit it right at somebody, so be it. Well, he hit it right at somebody.
With 2 outs and a runner on third.
So it'll take some 2-out hitting from Matt Nettles to try to bring Dustin Averett across the plate.
We have struggled with runners at third and less than 2 outs.
Matt takes first pitch breaking ball for a strike. He singled to right field his last time up. Burgess in right, let it get past him and roll all the way to the wall. Matt ended up on third, and on the play, Blaine Miller, who was on first, came all the way around to score the second run of the game. This one rolled towards first. It'll be a foot race between King and Nettles, and the first baseman King wins that foot race to the bag. So the Cougars get the runner to third with 1 out, fail to get him home, and we've played 6 at the ballpark. 2-0 Cougars in front of Georgia Southwestern on the flagship station of the CSU Sports Network, News Radio 540.
We head to the 7th inning here at Ragsdale Field, and the Cougars lead Georgia Southwestern 2-0. Jake Ezel has been outstanding today, and he'll face the Paul Sorrell, the guy with the 2 home runs last night, 6 homers on the season, which leads their club. And the first pitch from Jake, first pitch swinging, fouled it away, strike 1. Sorrow is 0 for 2 on the afternoon, a strikeout and a ground out to short.
Looks like Jason Rogers, the other Cougar working his way through the minor leagues,
Fouled away.
has been optioned out of big league camp to AAA, but he was right there on the cusp, got there in September last year, so you imagine the first kind of injury or any struggle, he'll be right back up there.
And he had a fine spring training. The 0-2 is downstairs, 1-2.
At 361 with a double and 5 driven in 36 plate appearances. I'd say that's doing okay.
Yep. So he let them know he's still around. Time is asked for and granted to Sorrow as he steps out and readjusts his batting gloves. 1-2 pitch right in on his hands, and he fouled it away.
Brewers, I guess they got a new AAA affiliate, because didn't they used to be in Nashville?
They did.
They've been optioned to AAA Colorado Springs.
That's right. I remember reading about that. My sister Glenda and her husband Greg live in Colorado Springs.
They're going to have to go check out our guy.
Yeah. The 1-2 misses downstairs, and it's 2-2. the Colorado Springs was the home of the Rockies AAA.
Which would make sense. I've never understood why it's not just the closest team to you.
Mm-hmm.
That would make sense.
2 balls, 2 strikes, driven, and forget about it as he flips the bat at home plate, and Matt Nettles turns around and watches that one fly over the left field wall, and Sorrell has hit his 3rd home run of the series.
And I don't think that bat flip's going to be received too well.
Exactly what I was thinking. He stood at home plate and flipped the bat as he admired his handiwork go over the hill in left field.
And I'm not sure I want to be the next guy walking into the batter's box. Although in a 2-1 game, you really can't send any kind of message.
An old coach friend of mine used to have a saying, he better be standing on top of the dirt. Swung on, fouled it back to the screen. Very lightly, he said.
You know, if this was a 7-1 game, I think you'd have seen something happen there. But at 2-1, you can't put the next runner on.
Leadoff home run here in the 7th. He shows bunt, and Jake bounces one up there.
But if there's anything about baseball players, they have long memories that will not be forgotten.
Sometimes from season to season. Action continues. Couple of guys up in our bullpen. Breaking ball hit the plate. 2-1.
That's really the first time they've squared anything up today.
And the way Sorrell has swung the bat the first 2 games of this series, you wonder how in the world he only had 4 home runs coming into this. Had 4 home runs coming into the series. He's had 3 in the last 2 days. Ball misses outside, 3-1.
And that was the kind of shot that you can hit that will get out today.
Mm-hmm. To left and a line drive. Can't get it up even to left field. The pitch misses, ball 4. So he follows up the massive home run with a walk. His 3rd walk of the day. And Blaine Miller trots out to have a chat with him. And that brings up Josh Tatnall. Let's see what how the Hurricanes play this here. Down a run in the top of the 7th. And man at first and no outs. Bottom of the order. Pitch from Jake is at the knees for a strike. Well, you said it, Jake was been overpowering, breezing along, and the game had the feel of a comfortable lead, but one swing of the bat and it's a 1-run game.
I mean, this was a guy working on a no-hitter in the 5th.
0-1 breaking ball misses inside, and it's 1-1.
Action on both sides for Georgia Southwestern. It's Justin Barnes, the right-hander, that's been up and throwing for a while, and Caden Ferguson, the one throwing in the CSU pen.
Check of the runner at first. And the 1-1 pitch. There's a little looper into right field. It's going to stay up long enough for Jackson Oliver to get it, and he's going to get a double play out of it. Yes, he is. He fires back, and bad base running from Zach Barron, who goes nearly at second base when that ball was caught. Thank you very much.
I think he was running on the pitch, and that led to it. He tried to throw the brakes on, but what I really liked from Jackson Oliver was that he didn't rush. You know, he took his time, made sure he made a perfect throw.
You got to pick even if you're running on the pitch, that's bad base running. You got to pick up your coach in that situation. The ball is popped into center field, and Jake Ezel is out of it without any further damage, thanks to some suspect base running by the Hurricanes. But a long home run by Paul Sorrell to start the inning has Georgia Southwestern within 1. We go to the bottom of the 7th. Time to stretch. 2-1 CSU. This is the flagship station of the CSU Sports Network, News Radio 540. Bottom of the 7th and 2-1. Cougars on top, and Will DeBoer whipped the crowd into a frenzy with his rendition of "Take Me Out to the Ball Game," and Cougar fans looking for some runs here.
New pitcher on the hill for Georgia Southwestern. It'll be the right-hander Justin Barnes, a sophomore, 5'10", 154 pounds, out of Ellaville, Georgia. Product of Schley County High School.
Ellaville, not too far from here, close to Buena Vista, the hometown of my wife Peggy, the booming metropolis of Buena Vista.
Barnes is 1-1 on the season, 16 innings pitched, 5.51 ERA.
And his first pitch to Blake Edwards misses outside, 1-0. Blake is 2 for 2 on the day, a couple of singles, a run scored.
So that'll close the books on Jordan McElwain.
He did a nice job, didn't he?
He did.
1-0 misses, 2-0.
6 innings pitched for him, 2 runs, only one of those was earned. 8 hits, 1 walk, and 4 strikeouts.
On the way. There's a strike on the outside corner. Wind continues to blow in. It's been doing that since early this morning. 2-1 catches the inside corner for a called strike 2. Blake was surprised, and so was I. Two-two pitch, low and away in the dirt, 3-2. Hope you all have a joyous Easter tomorrow and having a nice Easter weekend, and happy Passover to our Jewish friends and fans. 3-2 pitch, line drive right back to the mound, and in self-defense, Barnes sticks his glove out, and there it is, out number 1. Holy cow.
That ball just kept following him as he fell off the mound.
It looked like a heat-seeking missile, didn't it?
I mean, he was falling off to the first base side, and that ball caught him.
Tough luck for Blake. Here's the shortstop, Ryan Eiley. 1 for 2. Fouled away. You know, it's ironic. Blake is so good at blooping in, like throwing out little lawn darts out where you couldn't walk out and place him any better to get base hits. And he squares one up and hits a rocket that the pitcher catches in self-defense.
Generally how it works, though, right?
Mm-hmm. The 0-1 missed a little high. 1-1. One pitch. Missed inside. 2-1. I'm hoping the Easter Bunny finds my house. Could go for some candy. Just saying.
I hope he finds the press box here in about an hour.
Yeah, well, that would be good too, wouldn't it? The Easter Bunny brings some pizza or something. The pitch is fouled away. 2-2. Throw it back to our studios between games, 30, 35 minutes or thereabouts. Swing and a miss, struck him out.
Good breaking ball for Barnes there. Had Eiley way out in front of it.
And back to the top of the order now, and Brendan Collins, 2 for 3 on the afternoon. Couple of singles, and he tried to drop down a bunt and popped up to the third baseman. He shows bunt and takes it high and away.
I think he showed bunt in every at-bat today.
Had Babe Ruth charging in from third, better known as Paul Sorrow, this weekend. Man, pitch misses away. 2-0. It's funny how something like that seems to happen in just about every series, isn't it? whether it's a home run or base hits or a pitcher. 2-0 strike on the outside corner.
It's what you love about baseball. You never know what's going to happen.
I told Patrick Collins and I were talking behind the batting cage this morning. It says, last night was an example. It said, it's why you love baseball and why you hate baseball sometimes. There's a strike on the outside corner, 2-2. It is truly a love-hate affair sport.
It's like golf. You hit the one good shot, it makes you feel great, and then you hit 12 bad ones.
But that one good one will keep you coming back.
It makes up for it.
The 2-2 is rolled through the hole at short into left field for a base hit.
Good piece of hitting there. Hung a breaking ball, did Barnes, put it in the center of the zone, and Brendan stayed back on it and just took a nice easy swing and rolled it into left. 9 hits now. Just a 2-1 Cougar lead, bottom of the 7th. 2 outs with Brendan at first. You would expect him to be going either a straight steal or a hit and run at some point in this at bat. He is leaning toward second. Throw to first. He was picked off in the first inning. He's back safely. Decent lead, leaning a little bit again. Not going, and the pitch is in there for a strike. As a hitter, it does make you a little uneasy, though, in a situation where you think the runner may go, because you'd prefer him to go early in the count so you can go to work.
Throw the first again, and he's back safely. That's what makes being a 2-hole hitter behind a speedy leadoff guy very difficult job.
That's where I hit my whole time, was in that 2 spot behind leadoff hitters. And you want them to go early so you can take the pitch and move on.
Squaring, pops it up down the third base line and foul. Tried to drop one down and surprise Sorrow at third, but fouled it, and he's in the hole now, 0-2. Jackson had an opposite field single that drove in a run in the third inning. 1 for 3 on the day. Collins gets his lead, leaning again. And throw to first. He just got back. He hesitated getting back to the bag, and it almost cost him. It wasn't that smooth dive back in. Again, he's out at the same spot. Weighed out on that front foot. And a throw over, and he's back easier this time. Meanwhile, Jackson Oliver still in that 0-2 hole, waiting for the next pitch. There he goes. Pitch is outside. The throw to second is not in time. A one-hopper that allowed Collins to get in there with the stolen base.
That was the perfect pitch to throw on, though. A ball up and out of the zone. You got a catcher that's already coming out of his stance to go get that ball. It's almost worked as a pitch out did.
And even with the one-hop throw, almost able to get the tag down. He just beat it. So now 1-2 count to Jackson. He rolls it to the second baseman, though. Redding fields, throws, and he got him. So nothing doing for the Cougars here in the 7th inning. We go to the 8th in game 1 of our doubleheader. Columbus State 2, Georgia Southwestern 1. This is the flagship station of the CSU Sports Network, News Radio 540. We head to the 8th inning, 2-1. Pitchers duel. Cougars on top here. And Jake Ezel will have the number 9 hitter, Brandon Weaver, and then back to the top of the order. Weaver is 0 for 2. He bounced to second and struck out swinging. First pitch from Jake. Breaking ball misses inside, 1-0. He gave up his first hit in the 5th inning and his first run, the home run in the last inning, the 7th. Fastball, a little low, 2-0. Couple of guys still up in the Cougar pen.
Sean Thomas has joined the bunch that's up and throwing with Caden Ferguson now.
2-0 pitch is ripped into left field for a base hit just past the diving Blake Edwards at third, diving back toward the hole. And there's a leadoff single by the number 9 hitter, and the guy was hitting .203 coming into the series.
And now here's a situation where Greg Appleton earns his money because you got a pitcher that's been rolling all day, has given up just 5 hits, but you have the tying run on base now, and you have a really good bullpen.
And Alderman had a bunt single his last time up. 1 for 3. Shows bunt and pops it up. It's going to drop fair and roll foul down the first base line.
Boy, that had trouble written all over it.
Yeah, he was not squaring for a sacrifice. He was trying to drag it down that first base line and beat it out. And if it stays fair, there's no way Cougars get anyone. It hit in fair territory and took one hop into foul territory. Shows bunt again, and again he pops it up, and he catches it. Jake Ezel does, sliding toward the third baseline. What a play by Jake Ezel.
That was very athletic of him, and one way or the other, he was going to get an out because the runner at first had to wait. So he was either going to scoop it up and throw him out at second or make the grab. But that is quite an athletic play from your pitcher, splitting the catcher and the third baseman to go get it.
Help yourself, Jake. Brett Burgess, 0 for 3 on the afternoon. Well, they couldn't get a bunt down. Pitch is rolled into left field for a base hit. Just past the shortstop, Ryan Eiley, in between him and Blake Edwards. And so here come the Hurricanes.
And they have the situation they were trying to get to with the bunt. The runners at second with just one out.
So here's Will Redding. He is 0 for 2, and here comes Coach Greg Appleton out of the dugout.
See if he chooses to go left or right here.
Hasn't made the move to the pen yet as he reaches the mound. He goes straight to Jake and says, good job, and that'll be all for you today. Good job indeed by Jake Ezel. The fans giving a big hand, and his teammates come out to greet him, and we'll take a pitching change break and be back in 60 seconds. This is the flagship station of the CSU Sports Network, News Radio 540. Cougars have a new pitcher here in the 8th inning.
Sean Thomas, the junior right-hander, 6'1", 200 pounds, a Columbus native, transfer from Darton State College. He will come in, and this will be appearance number 14 for him. All of them out of the bullpen. He's 1-1 with a 3.52 ERA. Does own a save on the year as well. 15 in the third innings, 16 strikeouts, just 6 earned runs allowed, and opponents held to a .218 average.
Sean had a good outing last weekend against Flagler. Here's Will Redding. Walked his last time. 0 for 2. Pitches in there for a called strike.
Jake Ezel, the book closed on him for the most part. 7 1/3. 1 run to this point, although he is on the hook for the 2 out there. 6 hits, 3 walks, 3 strikeouts. Good outing for him overall.
First and second, just 1 down. Cougars lead only by 1 in the top of the 8th. The pitch is high, and it's 1-1.
Cruelty of baseball, though. These 2 runs scored. Jake was on the hook for a loss after as well as he pitched.
For the second straight game, Georgia Southwestern giving the Cougars fits. 1-1 is fouled back to the screen, and it's 1-2. So Sean out in front. See if we can put him away here. That's one thing Cougar pitching could not do all night long last night, was put anybody away. To the belt, to the plate. Just got a piece of it. Reached out and fouled it back to the screen. Good bit of hitting by Redding. Too close to take. Couldn't do anything with it, but he just reached down and spoiled it. Check of the runner at second. Looks at him again, and the 1-2 pitch popped him up on the infield. Ryan Eiley calling for it on the dirt to the second base side of the bag, and he's got it.
There's a good start coming out of the bullpen. You inherit 2 runners and the number 3 hitter at the plate, but Thomas dominated that at bat.
Well, Sean wants to get this guy right here, Davey King, to end the inning because Paul Sorrow is waiting on deck, who homered in the last inning, and he hit 2 long ones last night. There's a strike. You want to see him with nobody on leading off the 9th.
Sean's been a really nice piece to this bullpen this year. He didn't have to play a big role in it last year, but has really helped take over that 8th inning kind of bridge gap.
The 0-1 swing and a miss. He blew that one right by him.
And now you're looking at a bullpen that potentially has Caden Ferguson and Sean Thomas, depending on the matchup there for the 7th or the 8th inning, and then Trey Watson in the 9th. That's a pretty strong close to a game.
King, their cleanup hitter, is 0 for 7 in the series. Fouled away.
Yeah, Sean missed a spot there, though. It was 0-2, and you saw Blaine Miller was set up outside and off the plate, and he had that one center cut. That's not where you want to be on an 0-2 count.
He lived to talk about it. Let's see what he does here on this second 0-2 pitch. Check of the runner out at second, and the breaking ball is chopped to third. Edwards fields, throws, got him. Good job by Sean Thomas coming in and out of the bullpen to put out the fire. And nothing doing for the Hurricanes. They leave a couple of big men on. We go to the bottom of the 8th here in Game 1. It's Columbus State 2, Georgia Southwestern 1. This is the flagship station of the CSU Sports Network, News Radio 540. Now we head to the bottom of the 8th inning. Cougars could use an insurance run or 2 or 3, leading just 2-1. And Mike McClellan will lead it off against Justin Barnes. Mike 0 for 3 on the day, so 3, 4, and 5 due up for the Cougars here. Barnes in his second inning of work. The pitch is in there for a called strike. Tennis teams both had easy wins against Georgia Southwestern yesterday. 0-1 is fouled away.
Yeah, 9-0 sweeps for them across the board there. I didn't realize it. That was because they canceled the women's tennis match with Emory today, the final home matches for the year.
Doesn't seem possible, does it? Next pitch fouled back to the screen. Count stays 0-2. Well, Evan has them in the midst of another outstanding season for both teams.
Yeah, both 2 losses for the women, 3 for the men. And, of course, you know, those losses all coming to teams in the top 8.
0-2, a soft liner right at the first baseman, King, who grabs it for out number 1. That'll bring up the DH in this game, Dustin Averett, 0 for 2. He did walk in the 6th inning.
The DH, number 18, Dustin Averett.
Or wheels, as we like to call him. He was showing off those wheels in that 6th inning.
I think that's how he refers to himself.
I think so, yeah.
In the dugout.
Should be his Twitter handle. First pitch is in there for a called strike.
You know, next chance I get, we're putting that on Twitter.
Mm-hmm. I think we can make it stick. I think he'd love it. The 0-1 fly ball to right, but that wind's going to knock it down back toward the line, and Brett Burgess, another adventure out there, but he makes the catch.
Well, it's a good thing he caught it, too, because, you know, he drops that and it gets into the corner. Old Wheels might be headed for home.
It would have been the greatest show on earth.
With 2 outs. Now to bat.
2 down now. It is the catcher, Blaine Miller.
Miller.
Breaking ball bounced right back to the mound and speared by Barnes, and he'll flip to the bag at first for a very easy and quick 1-2-3 inning for the Cougars here in the 8th. So we head to the 9th inning in game number 1. We got to hold 'em Cougars. Columbus State 2, Georgia Southwestern 1. This is the flagship station of the CSU Sports Network, News Radio 540. Cougars head to the 9th inning with a 2-1 lead, and in comes the closer.
Trey Watson, the senior left-hander, 6 foot, 200-pound southpaw out of Springfield, Missouri. 1-2 on the season in 11 appearances, but he does have 5 saves, 14 innings pitched, and he's had the strikeout pitch working as he has struck out 18 already this season, going for save number 6 here in the 9th.
He's a big, burly guy. Had a mountain man beard last year.
And couldn't be a nicer guy.
Oh, he's just a great guy, isn't he? Fun to be around. But he is anything but fun to the opposing batters when he's on top of that mound. And here we go. Here is Paul Sorrell. Pitch misses outside for ball one. Sorrell has, a strike on the outside corner. Sorrell has 3 home runs in the first 2 games of this series. Swing and a miss.
And that was blown by him.
So he jumps out in front 0-2. Trey not wasting any time.
It's the matchup you want to see, though.
Power against power. Sorrell asks for time and steps out of the box. The 0-2 pitch on the way to the plate. Tried to check his swing and is able to do so on a pitch just a little bit outside, 1-2.
But where Sean Thomas missed with that 0-2 spot last inning, that was the right spot. They were going for that exact place he put that pitch.
The 1-2 pitch on the way. And swung on and missed. The ball gets away from Miller. Back to the screen. The throw to first is not. He is out. A great throw by Blaine Miller, as the runner, Sorrell, did not run immediately when he swung and missed, and that's the only thing that allowed Miller to throw him out at first. Bang, bang, and he got him out at first for out number 1.
And there's some good fortune, because if he decides to run right away, he's standing on first base.
And the pitch to Zach Barron is high for 1-0. Blaine was halfway back to the screen by the time that Sorrell had realized the ball got away before he started the run. Pitch is fouled away, 1-1.
Because the pitch wasn't in the dirt, so he wasn't expecting it to go anywhere. You swing at a pitch that high, you're just expecting to be done.
It was high and inside, and it just handcuffed Blaine as it came in right at the batter. There's a little looper into the outfield that's just going to drop over the head of Eiley at short. So now, how big does that play look?
And that's tough if you're a pitcher to swallow right there. You threw a good pitch, got in on the handle, but when you play with the aluminum bat, as a hitter, you can get away with it. If that's a wooden bat, we're picking splinters up off the infield.
So here's Josh Tatnell. A little 6-4-3 double play, and let's put this one in the win column. Tatnell represents a potential go-ahead run here in the 9th inning. 2-1 Cougars on top. Runner at first. There's a strike. We don't make it easy, do we? Watson comes set to the belt and to the plate. A little low. 1-1.
They would hate for your heart to get a day off.
I think if I survived basketball season, that was probably, I could probably just skip my cardiologist stress test this year, can I? 1-1. Called strike 2 on the outside corner.
I mean, you can skip it either because you know you're going to be able to handle it or because they don't want to see how high off the charts it has been.
That's a good point, too. Could go either way there. If Dr. Dara's listening, I'll get a phone call. Check of the runner at first. The 1-2 pitch, chopped toward first, and Mike fields it, and one play, he couldn't make up his mind if he wanted to go back to the bag or tag the runner. He ended up stopping and tagging the runner for out number 2, but on the play, a potential tying run moves down to second.
Tag him with 2 hands, Mike. You scare me.
And here is Jared Jones. So through all of this now, the Hurricanes have a chance to tie the game with a base hit here in the 9th inning with 2 down. CSU leading 2-1. Trey Watson trying to shut the door. There's a strike on the inside corner. We have no interest at all, Trey, in seeing the bottom of the ninth inning. Just saying. And the lefty out of Missouri checks that runner. And the pitch. Fastball misses outside. Now you just worry they've already blooped one in this inning. If they do it again, it could tie the game. Watson checks the runner again. The 1-1 pitch. There's a strike on the outside corner. So the Hurricanes are down to their final strike, but they're one swing away from either tying it or taking the lead. That's what it's come down to. Watson to the belt and to the plate in the dirt. 2-2. Good job by Blaine to keep that ball in front of him. Trey looks in, gets the sign. And the 2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Struck him out, and the Cougars win. Trey Watson comes in out of the bullpen to pick up the save, and the Cougars win it 2-1.
Impressive showing there in the ninth from Trey Watson. Fought off a tough bloop single and got into the outfield, but came back, pounded the strike zone, which is good to see, and that looks like the Trey Watson we're used to seeing.
Game ends at 3:10, so 2 hours and 7 minutes, and Jake Ezell set the tone today, didn't he?
Yeah, Jake Ezell's going to get to 5-1 on the season. He went 7 1/3 innings, 1 run on 1 swing, a long solo home run, the only blemish against him, 6 hits, 3 walks, 3 strikeouts. That's the kind of start they needed after the way things went yesterday, and that's another one of those big confidence boosters for a guy that's really thrown well since he's been thrust into the weekend rotation.
All right, we're going to throw it back to our studio between games for about 30 minutes or so. Tends to be a little longer sometimes, but somewhere in that neighborhood as the Cougars win the opening game 2-1, and now a chance to win the series if they can sweep the doubleheader here today. Mackie Mason, our studio producer, and we'll throw it back for some regular programming now between games, and we'll be back here in about a half hour or so as the Cougars win the opening game 2-1. This is the flagship station of the CSU Sports Network, News Radio 540.